Welcome to another episode of Angels, Positivity and Love. Absolutely fabulous guests the world over with incredible backgrounds here to help us on our own life path. They're usually giving service to others. They're New York Times, Amazon #1 bestsellers. They're healers, professors, doctors, psychiatrists, one Delta Force operator, the youngest admitted, a White House physician to the US president, you name it, MSNBC or CNBC anchor, Good Morning America reporter. It goes on and on and on. I'm super excited to have you here as the audience. Please subscribe, like, share, comment. We have 220 episodes in the books, most of which will be recorded by September of 2024. That's stretching all the way out to May of 2025. So we're unfortunately 10 months out. So we're well organized, I suppose. And that's a good thing when you're a show. Speaking of amazing guests, we've got with us coming back on the show. So a big welcome back to Catherine Carrigan, medical intuitive, healer, just all around amazing, seasoned veteran intuitive, steady business model, 10 books, show host of the Natural Healing Show with UK Health Radio. She's got a 46,000 audience on a weekly basis over there. She's been doing the show for a super long time. She's done a lot of other modalities and things, teaching yoga and so on. I'd just like to say she's super awesome and super grounded, but super talented at the same time. Catherine, welcome back to the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Michael. Thank you so much for having me on the show. And thank you, everybody out there, for listening.
Catherine, you do a lot for folks. Can you just talk to us about how have things changed for your medical intuitive side of the business in the last couple of years? How has it expanded, grown? And you are always kind of rolling with it, aren't you, as things change?
Yes, I would say that my business has gone more global. So I have clients all over the world. I've had clients in South Korea, in Spain, in Costa Rica, a lot in the UK. So it's really fun for me to, and Australia. So it's fun for me to talk to people all over the world because we all have the same challenges, no matter what language that we speak, and we all need our angels.
And we've done lots of work together. I've seen you in action, stuff like that. But can you explain to folks, if somebody does reach out and books an appointment with you, how does it usually work? Do you start getting a download right away? Do you taste the air on them later? Do you wait till just half an hour before the session begins? How do you roll?
That's a great question. So first of all, Michael, I have 31 years full-time experience in natural healing. So I'm a master healer. And there's basically two things I do. I do medical intuitive readings with people all over the world. And I also do healing work with people, like I've had clients for decades. So to answer your question, the first thing that I do is I connect every part of me to the divine, because when you're completely connected to God and the divine and our angels, as you know and experience, then you know whatever you need to know, right? So it's kind of like plugging in the lamp, right? And some of us are just unplugged. I mean, I feel that, I'm sure you do, Michael, that our angels are always trying to speak with us. And then I usually start each client with a forgiveness mantra. Forgiveness is so critical for our health. When we don't forgive ourselves and others, we're holding on to old energy. So I start with a forgiveness mantra, and then I ask each client for their goal, and I tune in exactly to what they need. When I'm doing a medical intuitive reading, I read what I refer to as the 5 levels of healing: physical, energetic, emotional, mental, and spiritual, and read what's happening. A lot of times, what I notice is that people are working really hard on one level, but they've neglected other aspects of themselves, and that's where their blocks are. And then I do healing work. And when I do my healing work, I'm working on the 5 levels of healing. So many people, they're only working on one aspect. So they're working with a physical therapist or a nutritionist or a naturopath, and they're working on the physical level, or they're working on the energetic level. They're getting Reiki, for example, or an acupuncture. That's the energetic level. They're working with a therapist or a coach. That's the emotional or mental level. And then they may be working with a spiritual director, and that's the spiritual level. My work is unique in that I work on all 5 levels at the same time. And when you work on the 5 levels of healing at the same time, then you really supercharge your healing because you get everything that you need all at once. So it's I have plenty of money, plenty of business. My goal is to really help people. So at this point in my journey, I just really give everybody everything I've got. So from my heart and soul.
I like it. Now, how do you handle when someone comes in and says it's all about apples and oranges, but you're hearing and saying it's plums, lemons, and grapefruits? How do you end up doing that pivot? Do you explain it to them later, and then you see if they are willing to go those directions as well?
So one of the things that I explained, there's something called your Johari window, okay? And the Johari window is what you can't see about yourself. It's a hidden window. So most of my clients are highly intelligent, self-actualized people. I have clients who are millionaires and billionaires. I have clients who are healers and, truly highly successful, very intelligent people who are already doing everything they can, but it's what they can't see in that hidden window. So I explained to them, you're not wrong. If you're working really hard on one level, you're not wrong, but it's this other aspect that's holding you back. And when we clear up what's happening over there, then all your other efforts are going to just like a locomotive just move ahead much more rapidly and easily.
It's like an NFL player, 10 great seasons in a row, and you're still spry. You got all the moves and talent, except you forgot the cardiovascular, and you show up to training camp not ready to get on the field. So you got to get it balanced out, I guess. Talk to us about your own balancing everything. You do gardening, you do other stuff, you teach yoga. How do you juggle it all, stay grounded, and stay fresh for the next client?
So I'm 65 years old, and one of my secrets is actually teaching yoga. I teach yoga 9 times a week, and I just love it. And um, I garden, I have an organic garden, I have a dog, I have a new boyfriend, which is always fun. So one of the things that I observe about people in their 60s is when you're younger, a lot of times people put a lot of emphasis just on their work. I feel I love what I do, and I anticipate being able to do it even for decades to come. I have longevity in my family. My paternal grandparents lived to their mid 90s. So everything that I do is about longevity. I try to be a good friend. I save and invest my money. I take care of my health. But what I find when you're in your 60s, and again, I have 31 years experience, I'm a master healer, you have to do yourself and others. So when you're younger, you can just work, 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 and maybe that works. But I feel that at our age, it really is all about the balance. So I spend a lot of time in my hammock. I listen to the birds. I'm incredibly blessed because I'm in the middle of Atlanta, but my home is surrounded by acres of trees. So in the city of Atlanta. So I get the most incredible birds, and I love to lie in my hammock and listen to the birds. It's quite rewarding. And on a spiritual level, a couple of years ago in 2019, I wrote 2 books, and my handyman and I painted the outside of my house. Those are my 3 big accomplishments in 2019. But before I wrote my 10th book, I got the message that Archangel Michael would help me write that book. And every day I prayed and meditated with Archangel Michael. And I wrote that book in a month, which anybody who's written a book, you know how challenging that can be. That was my fastest book, all thanks to Archangel Michael. And then in January of this year, I got the message that Archangel Michael would be helping me with my healing work, right? And I already have a team of angels that I work with. And so on my right arm, I've got the angel of perception. At the crown of my head, I've got the angel of receiving. In the back of my head, I've got the angel of peeling that allows me to peel away the layers and see the truth in all situations. Right behind my heart, I've got the angel of restoration that helps me to restore heart, soul, body, mind. My throat chakra, I've got the angel of self-expression. And in the front of my heart, I've got the angel of magnificence. So I already have a team of, my personal team, if you will. And then in January, I got the message that Archangel Michael would be working with me. And I'm sure, Michael, André Ford, you agree with me that the angels are available to all of us. And it's really about us forming really a team with them, right? Because they can do what we can do, they can do what we can't do. And then when we work together with them, whatever we do, whether you're a school teacher or a mom or a healer, when you work with the angels, you can just be infinitesimally times better at whatever it is that you do. You can be more guided, you can be more effective, you can be more compassionate, and you can channel that divine energy.
Certainly. Grab Joy and Angel or Archangel Michael, and when you're playing pickleball, have her jump into your arm, hit a winner, but do it compassionately. Do not hit anybody with the ball, even though it's a light little thing. And don't tell anybody you're using angels to do a smash like that. But I've gotten help with Joy running. So we've got a lot of hills in North San Antonio, 8 to 12%, hot, hilly, humid. And it wasn't just me who heard this, a bunch of other folks. I've had up to 70% of my effort assisted by Joy, by her being in my legs. I'm a runner for 42 years. If you will allow, ask, and receive, I think that's the theme. And maybe that'll be the next question. What is it about this whole allowing thing, asking thing, and receiving thing?
That is what a great question that is, Michael André Ford. And I think that when you kind of realize that the divine is here in this dimension with us, wanting to help us, right? So you've got this team of, and in my opinion, everyone has angels. And it's really just a question of, do you have good communication with them? Are you listening to them? And when you ask for their help, they will help you. If you go to my website, catherinecarrigan.com, you will see actual photographs of angels that I've taken with my iPhone, no special equipment, just my iPhone in or around my home and my healing room. And so when we ask for help, we absolutely get help, right? And, if nothing else, they can bring lightness and joy and bring delight and upliftment to your life, right? So one of the things that I know about myself is I'm here to uplift others, right? And I remember even one time somebody years ago who was explaining to me about my angels, she said, you have the ability to tell somebody the worst thing about them in the most delightful way. Because, I may be working with people who have serious illnesses, right? But there's always something you can do. There's always something you can do to bring more ease and joy into your life, even if you're dying, right? Even if you're facing a severe illness.
Love is a constant. Allow more, love more, but open your eyes to see love. I think the Big Mary said that. Maybe talk to us about love, consciousness, more awareness. There's a lot of ways to slice that one. Yeah, unconditional love, no limits, timelessness, just being in your heart, allowing. What's the way you like to describe just more light flowing in for mankind, for all of us right now, but only, if people want to pay attention more and maybe slow down the thinking.
Okay, so we have to recognize that all vibrations exist here on Earth at this time. So for example, there's salt and there's pepper. And when I want salt and I reach for the pepper, that might be the wrong thing. Or if I want pepper, I don't need the salt. So there's all these vibrations that are around us all the time. And as we become more conscious and more aware, especially spiritually aware, every single day you get the opportunity to set your vibration. So those of us who grew up back in the day when we had radio sets, and it's like, oh, I could listen to NPR, I could listen to rock, I can listen to rap, I can listen to country music. So you get the chance and you can choose to set your vibration to whatever vibration that you choose on a daily basis. Now, the way that I do this is every morning I say the Lord's Prayer. I pray for a specific group of people by name. I pray for each person one by one. And then I talk to my angels, even if it's briefly. And then to answer your question, and this may be one of the most important things that I do to get into the vibration of love and joy. Then I get up and I have morning hugs with my dog. Now, why a dog? Dogs are pretty much close in the realm of joy. Those of us who are animal lovers, they're pretty much in a state of joy all the time. So I have a little black and white Cocker Spaniel. She's 9 years old, totally spoiled, completely adorable. Anyway, I could go on about how awesome my dog is, but every morning we have morning hugs. And I put her on the bed, I rub her belly, I scratch her ears, and I talk to her about, it's another happy day being Dixie. It's another happy day being Dixie's mommy. And I make her feel really good and she squeals with delight. And then I'm just like, my heart is just all the way open. And then from that place of love and joy and excitement and goofiness, I start my day. And it's just a really simple thing to do, right?
The brain doesn't appreciate what really is a home run vis-a-vis the heart or any given moment. Something that the brain might dismiss as no big deal, you just wave to a stranger, can have endless ripples of love way beyond anything you could comprehend, and you'll never know about. So it's interesting how the real world, the real universe, the reality that's beyond the waking dream that we all perceive as real is far bigger at a love level. And that's thus dogs are such a great opening to that, and your own heart just slowing down and noticing something. I mean, there's a million ways to be here, but there's definitely 40 million ways: the logos, the reason, the intellect, the ego, what else? The psyche can react, resist, reject, and just pull you away by knowing something that precludes possibility. This is possibility. Can you talk to us about what have you personally really come to appreciate in the last, let's say, decade that you just love? It allows you to sort of go above when you put the news on or you hear people talk in a certain way, you don't react. It's a broader perspective that's compassionate based and kindness. Can you talk to us about that?
Yes. So before I wrote my second book, which is called What is Healing? Awaken Your Intuitive Power for Health and Happiness. Before I wrote that book, I only had one thought, which is when you are in a state of unconditional love, when you love someone or something unconditionally, then you know whatever it is that you need to know about that. Okay. So the simplest example of this could be a mother, right? So a mother who really loves her child will just know they need more of this and less of that, and they just know. And so when so many people are confused about intuition or medical intuition. They think that a medical intuitive is going to judge them. So for example, this morning I spoke with a client who's struggling with addiction, right? Which is a very common issue that people struggle with, right? And I wasn't judging. I was talking to him about what his next steps are, right? And Mother Teresa said it best. What did she say? She said, when you judge people, you have no time to love them. So when you judge people, you have no time to love them. So, so many people come to me, and one of my books is called Unlimited Intuition Now, which is all about opening up your intuition. Well, the simplest way to really get into that state of inner knowing is to actually practice unconditional love. Well, how do you get there? Well, part of it is you let go of judgment and you stop projecting your issues onto other people or out into the world, right? And so, for example, I'm going to give a real simple example. I remember what years ago when I started my website, CatherineCarrigan.com, I read that if I used other people's photographs, I'd have to pay for them. So I started taking photographs with my iPhone. Well, I'm a gardener. I love my flowers. I love my orchids. And when I take those pictures, yes, it's a photograph of an orchid, but it's also sharing my view of the world, which is actually a world of peace and wonder. It's kind of like, wow, we live in the most beautiful planet, right? If you just look around, it's like, wow. And when you get into that wow, it's like, oh my goodness, my Archangel Michael just helped me with that book. Oh my goodness, there's all these people who come out of the woodwork when you ask for help. When you get into that wow and that state of wonder, that state of gratitude and appreciation, you're in that vibration. So, but to go back, it's about consciously putting yourself in as high a vibrational state as you can. So again, it's like, I'm going to choose to be in as high vibration state as I can. And that state, the simplest way to get there is to be in a state of peace, joy, appreciation, and gratitude, right? Because the minute I start judging, this person's bad, that political party is evil, oh my goodness, the world is, going in the wrong direction, then you're in judgment. And we have to I remember my mother and father, they had a little saying in their kitchen. It said something like, relax, this is God, relax, I'm in charge.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So we want to notice when we go into judgment, because we're all human and we all do that. For example, I don't like driving in rush hour. I totally go into judgment when I'm doing that. We want to notice when we're in judgment, and then as much as possible, we want to reset our vibrational state into unconditional love, right? And you can get there through gratitude and through appreciation. I gave the example of playing with my dog. And I remember when I was studying medical intuition, the person that I was studying with said that every one of us should have a best possible thought. Okay. So, what do I mean by that? So, we all have times in life where we go through a really hard time. You may have a hard day, you may have a hard week, you may have a hard month. Okay. So, but if you have a foolproof thought that whenever you think about that thought, it immediately raises your vibration, right? So again, for me, it could be tickling my dog's tummy, right? Or walking in my garden and or really looking at my orchids and watching them grow. When I just think those thoughts and put myself into that vibration, I can pull myself out of hopelessness and despair and anxiety and worry and all of those lower vibrational frequencies that we can all get into because we're human, right? So, but it's really about paying attention to where we're at. And, you know, I remember one time I was talking to a client in Australia, and of course I wasn't there. I didn't have my hands on that person. I think I was even on the phone. So I couldn't see them. I couldn't put my hands on them. And then all of a sudden we're talking about her mother in New Zealand. And you have to understand that wherever your mind goes, that's where your energy goes, right? So put yourself in the highest vibrational state that you can, right? And ask for help from your angels to be able to do that.
Marvelous. And I like thinking of beaches in Mykonos or Santorini or Cap Ferrat or Ferret, however it's said in French. Let's get back to the right or wrong thing. It's not that we're not saying people can't be right, but let me try to tackle that from 4 different directions. Ananda Mayama used to say, everyone is right. I mean, and we'll flip that pancake a little out of India. She said, everyone is right. And I've never met anybody who goes out the door, goes to work, or anybody at a workplace, or anyone anywhere ever in 56 years that's ever said, I'm going to go around this week and be wrong. I want to waste all my energy as much as possible. But that's what most of our thinking is about. It's Angel said there is no right or wrong. There's proper understanding. That would be more love, compassion, letting go of the accelerator a little bit so that you coast a little more here. 7% less thinking a day, Charlotte said, and that means 7% more heart would be the Olympic gold medal. Finally, I've got a quote from Star Wars. Obi-Wan Kenobi talks to Luke and says the following line, which I think you'll love. Luke, you are going to find that many of the truths we cling to depend on our own point of view. And so again, it's not that you're not absolutely correct. This is horrible. All the neighbors agree that the one neighbor living at the end of the street is the worst person in the world. But that precludes possibility. It precludes love. It shuts you out. It leaves you with dental floss as a connection to life. And if you could just see the energy, the negative energy, the unlove that you're generating by doing thinking, it's like a hot stove. Once you learn the difference between up here and here, you're off to the races for being a more compassionate, sparkly, and more successful at business or whatever you do, athletics, whatever you touch, you're more in the zone, in the moment, and you walk a smoother path. With that, are you ready to do game show stuff here where we light some sage? I show my energy for 5 seconds. We put up a couple angels that prompt you on topics you already know, like the back of your hand, but we go a little more just, I don't know, quicker on the bunny hop trail here. Okay, I don't even know what that is, but I'm gonna light this sage. You've done this a million times with me. You're already gonna start catching the sage before I can even get the lighter out. This is Sage at home, though. If you've never watched this show, that means click subscribe, like, share, comment, put 2 emojis for Catherine, but I would do more. Be like, I like Catherine a lot with a capital A and an ALOT. Add an exclamation point, do something. It helps the algorithm. It helps people see this tiny, small show with an amazing guest footprint. I'm lighting some sage. You can catch that at home. It'll be just smoke. But because there's 2 screens, it's kind of like our thinking and everything's right or wrong. And like you can be completely right. And no, I'm going to stay at that level. That means you can't smell the sage. But you know what? Maybe the universe is a little bigger. Maybe you can smell the sage. Everyone, I've been a guest on like 60 shows in the last 2.5 years. Catherine's show twice. Thank you very much, Catherine. You're a great show host. Catch some sage smoke, but why settle for linear when you can have flowers? And what's the next? Ocean. So if you have to close your eyes, ask angels to get in here and make it nice, like the pickleball swing. Do it. What are you getting, Catherine, in Atlanta, Georgia right now? Catherine Carrigan, show host of the Natural Healing Show.
I'm absolutely smelling and tasting the sage, right?
Well, I'll snub it out. Did you get any flowers? And if not, you want to close your eyes and just ask Archangel Michael to come in. I'm putting him up on the screen. Anybody wants to put their hand out and feel his vibe. Ask
Yes,
him to bring you roses if you want. What are you getting?
I'm getting my garden.
Oh, yay.
Yay. And
Good.
it's got a bunch of black-eyed Susans that are just beginning to bloom. So I'm going to just have this huge swath of beautiful yellow flowers with little brown centers, and they're just so happy.
When you say black-eyed Susans, I'm from the East Coast. I remember Nantucket. There is or was, I don't know which way it is right now. There's the Black-Eyed Susan Cafe. I have fond memories of that place. Okay, I am gonna do the next for 5 seconds. This is out of Celestine Prophecy This Way, Show the Energy, but a guest this year was like, no, I was around in the 70s before that movie was made. We were doing this and seeing energy between our fingers before that movie was made. And guess what? In India, they do it this way, so it doesn't matter. Here's a dad joke for everybody to lighten up. And then speaking of which, you can see a filament of light, a wisp between my fingers, white, gold, green, yellow. It is what it is. But if you're absolutely cray-cray, ask, Michael asked Joy, the angels, to make a little heart coming off of my light stream, a bunny rabbit hopping, a buffalo running, a hummingbird, or little hearts or sparkles or something, fireworks, something that you know couldn't have been my flow, that your jaw drops and you're like, I got to play this again. And this is the point of getting out of fixed logic, logos, reason, intellect that can't really help you pet a dog. Do it this way. You can think about petting a dog, or you can actually hug the dog, and you can only do that from here. Okay, and that was the point Catherine was making before, is that's where the key moments are. Okay, Catherine, are you ready for a little bit of light? Here's the dad joke. Why did the rabbit fall down that well? He didn't see that well. And what color do you see between my fingers?
I actually get like a rainbow color. Yeah.
Holy Toledo. If anybody else is seeing rainbow, pause this, run out and buy a lotto ticket, or instead of the usual 5 kilometer run, do 10. Not that I actually advised you to do any extra running, but if you were stuck on the last chapter of your book, you couldn't write it, today's the day to write it. Rainbow means wide, wide, wide open, Catherine. Are you getting anything else, like a sparkle, a heart coming off of it, anything?
No, it's just, iridescent, for people who can't see, I'd see, if you're looking into into a shell, when you look into a giant shell and you see that iridescent, there you go. Thank you. Yes, the iridescence. Yeah, that's what I saw, but it's all the colors rainbow for sure.
You might be my first guest ever to see rainbow light on air, even though, I mean, it happens. It just means you've got to be wide, wide open. That's healer level. Everyone technically is a healer if you could just lay off the lingo and allow. Don't, our judging precludes all possibility. Welcome to most human knowledge. With your permission, let's do 3 angels or 2 angels in Nanda Mayama out of India on what the rainbow light was about. Here's Joy. What does Joy say the rainbow light that you just saw was about?
It's about connection on all levels and being able to communicate. So you know how some people can only talk to this kind of, this kind of person, but when you're speaking rainbow energy, then we're communicating in such a way that everyone everywhere is going to get something.
Stand-up comic. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Okay, here's Charlotte. Because here's the deal. If we took 100 people for 10 years, not that we're ever going to get that much time out of anybody, and we had them every day ask this question over and over again, we could literally get like 20,000 different answers that all mean the same thing or all point the same direction, because angels somehow can find a way to rephrase everything in a new, fresh perspective. Oy vey, they can short circuit your brain. They are so far beyond what we appreciate. And the weird thing is they're still learning from us. We think they're perfect, and they are. They can see our last page or chapter of our life story here. They don't blow your surprises for you, but they can help a lot. It's what we allow for. What's Charlotte say the rainbow light's all about today?
I'm getting it's the connection, both connected to the earth and connected to the divine in all vibrations in between. So you
Nice.
know how a rainbow starts at the earth and then goes up to the heaven and goes on to the other side. Yeah.
Good one. I've never heard that said either. We're setting some new, we're pushing boundaries out. Here's Archangel Michael, but if you could privately get a compliment or two first, just say, got it. You don't have to share anything out loud, but then boomerang it back into something profound for all of us. So here's 2 compliments for you, and hopefully you blush on one of them. Okay, and then what are you getting to boomerang back for the audience? Because we want to hear something.
I just get the word hope.
Ooh.
I'm getting that people in our audience need to feel and experience hope because they get caught in the drama. Right.
Hope is here is a phrase I've been hearing from Charlotte like 3 times this year. There's an angel named Hope. I don't even have a drawing of her or a photograph, but I can tell you she's peach colored, which is perfect for you. If you don't mind closing your eyes, I totally believe you're like one of the most talented folks. You can have peach light come in on your eyelids. I'm going to breathe extra here. People at home, you're going to hear a dad joke. Let hope come in. And if anybody wants extra volume turning up, breathe through your mouth, breathe through your nose more, your shoulders heave ho. It's like a mean yoga teacher opposite of Catherine Carrigan, yelling breathe, breathe, breathe every 5 minutes. Let her come in and do a reminder for you. But folks at home, what's the only flower found on the human face? Tulips. But somebody said iris the other day. So I guess there's always an extra answer. What are you getting from hope?
I'm getting it's that we need to see the world from a spiritual perspective. Because so many times, and this is just my observation, not that I'm right, not that I know anything, because so many times people look at, what's happening, whether it's in the world at large or the planet or politics, and people think, oh my God, this is such a train wreck. But when you look at it from a spiritual perspective, a lot of times it's like a 180, right? And it's like, okay, well, this is happening so that the work of God can be made manifest, so that people get into their own spiritual heart and find their center and get grounded in the truth of who they are, who they really are, and then move forward out of and do everything that you do from your higher self with true soul connection, right? Rather than, walking around feeling like you have to be in your battle suit all day long. Right?
I'll say it a different way. Like the Olympics, you got 5 different events. You've been given free tickets. You're going to go with what you're truly going to enjoy, and you should be doing that same principle on everything. Hint. Okay, I'm going to put up a Min, an angel who's light waves of energy and water, soft-spoken professor, my guardian angel, but Dr. Karen Wyatt's guardian angel. August 30th of 2024 is her show that came out. She saw Min and said, oh my God, that's my guardian angel. So there must be 80,000 of us on planet Earth that share this angel as their guardian angel. She was 11 years old in bed and woke up to a Hallmark movie of an angel in white, this angel standing over her bed. And from that age on, she knew she wanted to be a medical doctor, and she became a physician. She's since retired. And so she even got to hang out with an angel on a beach for half an hour after. Like, if anybody at home has already drank the juice, the Kool-Aid, whatever the expression is already fully on board with all this, and you're like, what's next? Give me another step. Ask angels to show up in human form on your path. Why not? They'll hold open the store door for you. Have the guts to be like, do you have time for a cup of coffee? Half an hour with 3 angels. It's for some reason they're more available today. What's Min got as a reminder? That's what you like to talk about, Catherine, but also maybe how are angels even more available now and why?
Well, first of all, Michael, I see Min over your right shoulder. She's standing there, very big and white, you know, yeah. And well, I have to tell this story, okay? So I
Oh,
have to tell the
take
story.
all the time you need.
All right. So, and who doesn't like stories? So back in the day, before cell phones, right? You have to laugh, before cell phones,
80s.
80s. Yeah. Well, who knows? Anyways, before cell phones, right? And it was Christmas Eve. This is a Christmas Eve story. I'm getting a chill even as I say this story, even almost bringing tears to my eyes. So my husband and I were driving separately to the holiday. So I was in my car, he was in his car. I went ahead and didn't have a cell phone. I'm driving an old car and up the interstate in the getting darker and darker. And so all of a sudden, my car dies. And it's in the dark. I'm on the interstate. I'm a single woman by myself, didn't have my dog at the time. And I remember saying a prayer, and I said in my prayer, Dear God, help me to get to the next exit. Okay, this is a really good story. So I say this prayer, I get out of my car, I put my hat on, it was cold because it was Christmas Eve, and locked my car and started walking to the next exit in the dark by myself, woman by myself on the interstate in North Georgia in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, just like that, as if I had called a cab. Within about 45 seconds, this huge 18-wheeler truck pulled over. Okay. Now there was a man and a woman in the truck, which really, for whatever reason, increased my sense of safety. So if it had just been a man, I don't know. Anyway, they saw me, they were like, get in the truck. So they drove me to the next exit. So it turns out we get to the next excerpt, and there was a restaurant there. And it turned out that the gentleman, the man, had just had surgery and he was in a tremendous amount of pain. So, and by the way, at the time, I had almost no money in my wallet. You know, I probably had $3.42. So no cell phone, almost no money. So the man was in a lot of pain. So I did some healing work with him for about an hour, and I got him completely out of pain. And about the time that I got him completely out of pain, who should show up in this rest stop but my husband? And he was in a state of panic because he had seen my car abandoned on the side of the road. And I had no way to call him to let him know that I'd broken down. Anyway, so any rate, the trucker gentleman and my husband, they went back, got my car and got my car started, right? And and then the story gets more interesting because when the next day when my husband and I were driving, every time that my car would start acting up again, I would just say prayers and it would get going again. It was the weirdest thing, right? And any rate, me being me, I'm a Southern lady. So when we departed from this trucker gentleman and his wife, I asked for their address because I wanted to write them a thank you note because they saved me off the side of the road in the middle of the night on Christmas Eve. And, it took a lot of time for them to be with me. So I write them a note, write them a thank you note. A couple of weeks later, I'm getting a chill as I say this, almost bringing tears to my eyes. I got the envelope returned back to me. It said addressee unknown. And I was like, oh my God, I was literally rescued by angels off the side of the road. And so, it happened to me.
I love it. If you want to hear who, you keep it to yourself or you can say it out loud.
I get they were special assignment angels.
There's a movie called Angela, Angel-A, Luc Besson, who did The Professional, Joan of Arc, Fifth Element, the whole Transporter series. Europa Corps is his film studio and blah, blah, blah. But he also did the Deep Blue, the dolphin movie with the guys who hold their breath and the women, I guess, who dive down. That was one of his original ones. Beautiful film. But so Angela, Angel-A was a black and white shot in 2010 in Paris. They shut down the city. And he had that script forever. It was a Guardian Angel movie. And he's somehow very spiritual, even though there's always controversy with all these Hollywood folks. But he held on to that script, and in walked a actress who's Danish. If anybody's seen an Antonio Banderas film that was a paparazzi film set in Paris as well, she was in it. And she came in to talk about her own documentary. But the second he saw her, tall, lanky, blonde, he said, "Oh my God, that's my guardian angel for the film." And he cast her. It's a very special film. There's a lot in it, but it was what you were just talking about, Hollywood casting, so to speak, for angels, special assignments, them coming down. That's what this film is about. It's an incredible, incredible film. It'll catch you off guard. There's also something about the main character, a short little guy who in real life is a comedian out of Morocco. I can't say anything. I don't want to blow the movie, but you could watch it a dozen times and miss the most obvious thing. So do not Wikipedia the main male character until after you've watched the film, and then it will become apparent because Wikipedia talks about this stuff. You will then realize something about the guy that you missed watching this film. But it's one of the top 5 Guardian Angel movies. There aren't a lot of them, actually. Everyone knows It's a Wonderful Life. There's Lucky Partners, 1940, 4 years before It's a Wonderful Life. And I'll leave it at that. Do you have a favorite author out there? That could be just generic, Don Miguel Ruiz. It could be a Guardian Angel movie. It could be a book. What's somebody else out there that's impacted you along this stretch? Who do you like?
Dr. David Hawkins, MD, author of Power versus Force. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us. But one of the things that he talked about levels of consciousness. And, 0 to 1,000 is the frequency that we human beings can hold. 600 is enlightenment, 500 is love, 540 is unconditional love. And as I mentioned, when you really want to get into your intuition, practice being in a state of unconditional love, because that's going to really open up your intuitive gifts faster than any technique you could ever study, right? So Dr. David Hawkinson, he talked about, if you're even touched by an archangel, that'll just change your entire life. Even being touched by an archangel even once, right? And I have to, I just, as I'm listening to you, Michael André Ford, I want to talk about my guardian angel, because again, I feel like we can, we all have angels, right? And so my guardian angel, if I could describe what he looks like, and he seems to be androgynous, if you can have an image of like Mick Jagger, right? And with sort of dark curly red hair. And a lot of times when I'm not paying attention, because I'm human, he'll seem to be holding like a placard, just like people with those sandwich boards on the side of the road, and he'll have words on it, right? And and it's really funny because I'd always seen him that way. And then there was a lady who specializes in painting guardian angels, and she did a portrait of my guardian angel. I can pull it off the wall and show you. And she has beautiful red hair.
Oh, and
I
did
know.
you tell her ahead of time, or she sensed it?
No, I didn't tell her anything.
Why don't you show that, and then afterwards we'll do a
Yeah.
new thing we haven't done on air, you and I, before.
Yeah. Yes. And so yeah, this is, and I have this in my office. So this is the portrait of my guardian angel. And so you see the curly red hair. So I
Yep.
didn't tell her anything. And then she saw that. And then if you notice, the crown chakra is completely open, right? So really guided by light. Like when I look at my guardian angel again, and I say he, she, because it's,
I think it's 51%, 49%, even though I always just stick with, the one gender that's easier. So,
yes. Yeah. And it's just, moves at the speed of light, right? So even when we think about, when we ask for angels, how long does it take? Right? And I think that when you really do ask for angels and ask for their guidance, things can happen literally at the speed of light. And I know a lot of us humans, I'm human, I get discouraged like everybody else. And there have been times when I've given up on my prayers. I'm like, well, I guess that'll never happen. And then it's like, wait a minute. Oh my goodness, there's everything I asked for right here, all of it.
you get a bigger lesson that way.
Yeah, just letting go. So you say the prayer, you let go, but angels can move at the speed of light.
Remember to remember, if you can remember, when you remember, to remember. And I thought that was original, but it's not. A book fell off a bookstore shelf, and it was a Tibetan book of dying, which is one of like a dozen or 2 dozen. If you're, a big Buddhist, you got to write that type of book. You do your own translation, like Wayne Dyer did of Lao Tzu, Lao Tse. And so the book just falls off the shelf. I don't think anything of it, except I'm like, whoa, that book fell off the shelf at that level. And it opens to this page. It's the forward, 2-page forward by Songyel Rinpoche. I can finally pronounce Rinpoche correctly. It's not Rinpoche. But Songyel Rinpoche wrote the forward for somebody really famous' Tibetan Book of Dying. And it said, for 35 years, I've taught students, remember to remember. And I'm like, is there nothing new? What I wanted to do was, if we can, we'll do, with your permission, ask Joy if we've got this. I'll put my hand up in Texas. You put your hand up in Atlanta. Only our highest intent, not our bill paying, worrying side. And so you'll just feel what you can feel. I've already got a little bit of vibration here. You got something, warmth, sparkle, gentleness. But now I'm going to whoosh with my free hand angel light. It'll be rainbow light coming your way. It'll be 3 times we do this. The first is low, then medium, then throw the volume up, just breathe extra. And if you have stuff, you want wind in your sail at home, you can do this. Here comes the first one. I'll blow through the microphone that's just right here. I'm holding it up down below center. I'll blow Hawaiian breeze your way. Again, we're going to blame angels, all these guys, and one big crew of angels. Here it comes. Catch your little sea spritz on your nose. And Catherine, did you get a little bit of rainbow light there?
For sure. Yes.
Yay. And then medium, and if anybody's got a fruit name, you're at home, you've got privacy, yell papaya. It can represent all your financial troubles, your health. Ask for help with all that. Why not? If you don't ask, you don't get. It's like a raise, a date, a vacation, anything. You know, it's life's a feast. Partake. Here it comes. Feel it go up your back. The Kundalini express those chakras. Breathe extra at home. And was that a little bit more? Okay, now this one's go big, go home for everybody. Everybody should be at home unless you're running right now. If you're running, driving, doing tractors, don't do this exercise at all. I didn't put a disclaimer in, so we're not covered. Okay, here we go. More rainbow light. Ask for it all. Sock it to me. Angels can't have enough. Think of the Bee Gees concert or Grimes or Small Black, whoever you like. Here it comes. And Catherine, what was that like up your back and all over, if you don't mind sharing?
Yes. So basically, a huge amount of energy coming up my spine through the crown of my head. So there was this huge opening, right? And for our audience, I have to share, and as soon as I say this, you're going to say, duh, all illness is slowed down vibration. So the best example of this is like when you have a cold. You know, when you have a cold, you just like blow your nose and can hardly get off the couch, and it's a big effort to go make chicken soup. And healing happens when you raise your vibration, right? So you raise your vibration. And so sometimes we have this thought or belief that it's difficult to heal, right? So then you're stuck in the cult of difficult. Like I've had this problem, I've had it 10, 20, 30 years or whatever. It's difficult, or I can't do it, right? And you want to use the affirmation, I am possible. And just ask yourself, how can I raise my vibration out of this, right? So one of the power animals that I work with, I have a mother snow leopard and a baby snow leopard. And snow leopards are leapers. And so a lot of times if I have a challenge, I visualize myself on the back of the snow leopard, just leaping out of the pit of the challenge, right? So you can, again, if you're stuck in the cult of difficult, if you're stuck in the idea that you can't get over something, just ask yourself, how can I raise my vibration so that I just leap out of this challenge?
Okay, that gave me 4 different quick ideas. This is Ananda Mayama, India. She, again, is just all about like love, but get anything you need from her. Catch Indian incense in the room. She's a sweetie. She lived an awfully long time. I think she passed around 1986 or so. What are you getting from Ananda Mayama?
She says to our challenge is to ground the spiritual energy. She said, I'm getting a visual almost like fireflies, like little points of light yeah, there she is, the little points of light all around her, right? So you can see it in that photograph. So little points of light. And our challenge as human beings is to grab hold of, resonate, connect with, accept, and feel like we deserve and allow that healing energy and to come into our being, mind, body, and soul, and to ground it into our body, into the physical, into our life, so that we can hold the highest light vibration possible, right?
Disney
And
special effects exist. They're a constant, like love, like joy. All you have to do is get out all this knowing, like you're a financial analyst, you got this health crisis, you got this, you're on your 6th divorce in 7 days, you're that unlucky. You can still allow the special effects in love, joy, and visual. It's there. You just have to be here. This is the portal or the opening openness or whatever you want to call it. The doorway. I've got Audrey Hepburn for you next. And she'll move in this photograph, a wink, a smile, eyebrow goes up, catch an uninvented perfume from Paris, make it exotic, let go, let go, let go, no try. You're super happy letting go in your heart's already there, and you don't care who knows it. I think that was Elf. What are you
Yeah,
getting from Audrey?
I'm getting complete elegance, right? And with elegance, there's simplicity, the simplicity of elegance and the elegance of simplicity, right?
Okay, and then I've got leopards for you, but not your snow leopards because I wasn't that prepared. I have though a leopard, more than a spirit guide. This leopard, although wiry short hair, you're going to do the tiger after that. That is luscious, shampooed, thick, soft tiger fur that is just like, oh, Calgon, take me away. The leopard's awesome. You're going to get 3 photographs of the same leopard, not technically the same, but close. Authentic self leopard, and you're going to love it. And then fluidity, and then all of it, the kit and caboodle put together in repose. But here's inner authenticity leopard. What are you getting from leopard?
Fearlessness, fearless, certainty.
And if you want to put a hand out into the open part of the room, maybe your right hand, like you're dribbling a basketball, though, out, let her walk by underneath and feel the wiry fur, short. Okay.
Yeah, and fierce on the outside, but like a kitten on the inside.
And here's fluidity.
Mhm.
And what's her message there?
It's to bypass all resistance. It's just sneaking by all resistance, inner and outer, right? Because a lot of times we want something in life, but we are resisting it. We're not totally allowing it.
It's parallel to what you said before about politics and what you think about others, how you place yourself. You're like, well, I'm blue, but everybody else is red, or I'm purple and everyone else is green. By creating that opposites thing, or just generating what we'll call it unlove, or 1% of 1% negativity to outright negativity. If it's fear, worry, stress, guilt, all the rest, you're actually generating something that does nobody any good. Like, that's why if you understood love, you would want to practice it at least twice a day more. It'd be like flossing your teeth. But does anybody do it? I don't know. I mean, if you're a dentist or you like flossing your teeth, I guess you're all set. Okay, now here's the whole kit and caboodle. This Jaguar pick is my favorite. She's put it all together. It's offense and defense at the same time, or love.
Yeah, I get repose. Just be here now, hold the energy, stick your ground, be grounded in the truth of your true authentic self, and all else will follow.
You are spot on. And I'm going to get you Ram Dass next because you said what you just said about be here now. Why not? Okay, now, not my best photo of Ram Dass because I've been moving fast. And so I got it. So, I mean, there's no bad photo of anybody. Here's Ram Dass. What do you have as a reminder for us all via Ram?
I get hilarity, and that, when you take yourself too seriously, just laugh. And when you go back into laughter, then you're back into the perspective that you need to be. If you lose your perspective, just have a laugh.
And half of our problems today would go away if people would let go of the ancient burden of self-importance. And they would at least diminish by 80%. That would be whether it's journalists, TV personalities, politicians, your neighbors, yourself. And that's just a little bit more compassion, kindness, gentleness coming in. Here's Wayne Dyer for you. Whatever you want to receive from Wayne.
He's saying, let go. He's saying, let go of the grief, let go of the judgment, just really practice letting go. And he said, if you think you've let go of enough, or you think you've let go enough, just let go of another layer, and just keep letting go until you discover your true own authentic self.
Ooh, I'm going to read a passage from a book in a second, but we got to do Elvis. And so I'll give you 3 choices for Elvis. He's super spiritual. I didn't know how spiritual he was. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. I had an angel come in named Presley. She wrote in on Elvis Presley movies. It's not like I'm an Elvis fan now. How could you not be? But I would always turn to movies as a way of just, I love old movies. I love every black and white. And it was a great way to escape anything happening in my living room 12 or 13 years ago. If you're watching a movie, nothing else can happen in the universe. But angels would then steer the content of the movie. I was caught and trapped one way or the other. I'd have to pay attention. So an angel named Presley wrote in on Elvis Presley movies. Every time I put the TV on, it was another Elvis Presley movie. She was laughing hysterically about it. She's like, call me Presley. It doesn't matter which way you spell it. I never thought Elvis Presley himself would join the crew, but you get to choose red, white, or blue.
Red.
Okay. Now, here's Elvis. He's unconditional love spirit figure. I'll say, in India, you can go get a mantra. Spend 5 years at an ashram, have the guru touch your forehead, delivers and whispers a mantra to you. But instead, you can have Elvis deliver to you a mantra. First, see him and interact with him one way. But when you're ready, close your eyes, see him on stage, looking fantastic, doing his shake and his singing, hear angels singing behind him. But this is the American cultural way of delivering a mantra. And if it can be a shareable mantra for us all, first just enjoy Elvis, unconditional love. Hear a message for us all.
Find who you really are and practice being that every single day.
Ah, gorgeous. And when you're ready, if you don't mind doing a little, it's like being in a Rocky Horror Picture Show or acting, just do this up and down for half a second to reset. Anybody at home can do this. Close your eyes, breathe extra through the mouth like you're in your yoga class. See a stage, see him on stage singing, hear angels actually delivering the music back up, and make it 80s, 70s, make it the Stones. The Big Chill, that song with the choir in the background that opened up the movie Big Chill with Kevin Costner and everybody. And then when he's ready, he's going to point to you, do a little shake to make you laugh, because this can be fun. You don't have to go to India. Go to India, though. And then let him deliver a mantra that you don't mind sharing.
Find your own magnificence and have the courage to share it with everyone.
Nice. Okay, now you get an option. I'll read a passage after this to give you a break. Do you want Debbie Ford, MLK, Mandela, or Carl Jung?
Carl Jung.
Okay, he's got a great sense of humor. This photo says it all.
He said, everything that you've been projecting out into the world is not your truth self. And you can only find your true self within.
That almost was the deepest thing. I think it might be the deepest thing. I think we're giving him the prize here because that was pretty amazing. Okay. Can you just tell me the letter A or B?
B.
Okay. Thank you. So here's a quick passage written by angels. If you could just trust that this is so. I saw balls of light as I was writing. If anyone thinks I talk this way or this is me, thank you. Greatest compliment ever. Okay, why is being, to be or not to be, being with a capital B, the key to all of this? It's in the appendix of Listening to Angels little book. Find it on my website. Being is believing in all. You do not need to be like anyone else. Be you. Smile more, think less. Do not permit others to dictate your well-being. Own your own being and life. Love more and allow more. You can be happy now in this very moment without a single reason. Again, this is why it's not about words or concepts, which are often just another form of egoic thinking. Always keep releasing so as not to allow walls to rebuild ego. What to release exactly is never that important. Those are mere details. Keep releasing what you just said, or he said, or somebody said, Elvis. Ego likes to judge everything and build walls. Ego likes to offer knowing as a form of false security. Step away from this and return to a peaceful life. Follow your path in life one step at a time. Enjoy it. Let go of perfectionist or defined behaviors such as roles. Embrace the awesome life given to you in each one of us. Just be. Listen to everything, for everything around you is always your instruction. Love is in everything. Open your eyes to find love. There's only one life, not two. Be in the moment. Compassion is within all too. There are just many levels of awareness in man. Everyone can grow. Last little bit. Let go to expand your own awareness level. See how when you let go, you become lighter and free. Your energy brightens and you feel alive. Believe, trust this is so, and it will be so. This is what faith, non-religious, religious faith, it's the same thing from here to here, is all about. Not knowing in life, not knowing in quotes in life while letting go and loving. Finally, compassion to others happens only when it is first applied by you to yourself to release your ego and to embrace more openness and love in the now. Find compassion in all that you see, breathe compassion into all that you do, believe in all and be loved to all, and know that we angels are here for you always. We are here not just in name but in action. Use us. What do you think about that? And can you keep going? Because Catherine Carrigan, you've got this stuff patented.
Ah, I think that is just so beautiful. And it's a great summation of what you and I have been talking about today is just let go. And if you don't know what to let go of, just pick a drawer in your house, right? And you go, oh, my house is pretty picked up. Well, just pick a drawer, start letting go of whatever's in the drawer, right? Or just go through it. It's like I don't need this anymore. It's old, it's worn out, or whatever. So practice letting go. And when you let go of what you no longer need anymore, what no longer serves you, you create the space for beneficial change.
Now, if you've let go of everything in your house, you're now homeless. You're going to put a comment. I don't know how you're doing it then, but you're putting a comment in the field. And I'll do a quote from Joy a long time ago when I asked about homelessness. She said, "What an adventure." And I was like, whoa. And it has taken me 10 years of contemplation on that to finally see, yeah, what an adventure. It's you're truly in the moment, the present, not bound, but we are not advocating doing what, was big in the 60s, big in the 70s, and even big to today, letting go of all your possessions and stuff like that. We're just talking about cleaning out one drawer, just like that extra, you found an empty roll of tape that does no good. Yeah, toss it out. Okay, Catherine, wrap this up for us. You're a professional show host. You've been doing the Natural Healing Show. How many episodes would you say you've already put in the books?
I can't even remember, maybe 8 years, something like that. And
500 shows, 800?
I guess something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I would say to consciously set your intention every single day to raise your vibration and hold your own frequency as high as you possibly can. Only light can drive out darkness. And when you let go of everything that you're not, all the facades, all the ego projections, everything that's been projected onto you, everything that you try and pretend to be, and just hold your light, ground your energy, hold your light, and then only light can drive out darkness, and you'll be happy and you'll provide the light from which everyone else can find their own way.
Mm. And it's very funny. We're going to put up Archangel Michael as a last parting set of words. You love Archangel Michael, but he said, and I think this is from this year, our household does some listening. It's not always me, so I'd like to thank an invisible household member who does the listening sometimes. He said, set your intent, repeat as a mantra. What a great bit of advice that I think you just said. So I'm going to hold him up in two different versions. Here's direct, and here's four archangels: Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel. And between them all, what are you hearing about this whole set your intent, repeat as a mantra, what you just said in a different way?
I get that life can be way easier than anybody thinks.
Because it's not about thinking, it's about less thinking. There she did. She rang the bell, but it's India, so it's the unstruck bell. You don't have to hear it to feel it. We just went super deep. We're wrapping it up. Catherine Carrigan, thank you so much for being on Angels, Positivity, and Love, True Talent. All your details are below the video. Do you have a final personal reminder to us all about the ebbs and flows of life, or about how love is actually shiny and sparkly? You get a last 5 seconds here.
Again, just set your intention every single day to work with the angels and to hold as much light as you possibly can.
I love it. Catherine Carrigan in Atlanta, Georgia, thank you so much for being on the show.